You may have picked up that the EU has been beefing up its cybersecurity posture through various regulations. Here are 5 things you need to know about the EU Cybersecurity Framework. So, what does the framework look like? The framework is comprised of various regulations, consisting of lots of acronyms. We have the Cyber Resilience Act, the Network and Information Systems Directive, the second. We have the Critical Entities Resilience Directive, the Cybersecurity Act, and the Digital Operational Resilience Act. So how do you determine which ones to pay attention to? There are 2 things to keep in mind. First, the scope of applicability of the various regulations. CSA provides for a cybersecurity certification framework. While certainly helpful, it will be mostly relevant to companies offering products, services, and processes in the ICT sector. DORA only applies to financial institutions. The CRA only applies to manufacturers of connected products. Now note that the definition of both connected and products is broad and covers both B2B as well as B2C, covers both software as well as hardware products, and finally extends to connected components. CER and NIS2 apply to entities operating in critical sectors, such as energy, transport, health, digital infrastructure, and finance. Now this does mean that you can be covered by multiple acts. For example, if you are a large financial institution, it's very well possible that you will be covered by both CER, NIS2, as well as DORA. Also, a large number of these frameworks are still in development. CER and NIS2 have been finalized, but they are a directive, which means that member states have until October 2024 to implement international law. DORA doesn't apply until January 2025, and the CRA is still going through the European legislative process. Do they all provide for the same requirements, just differently worded? Well, yes and no. All of the regulations are intended to strengthen the cybersecurity posture of the European Union. They all have some elements of training, cyber resilience testing, risk identification, and risk management. They all provide for some form of notification obligation, and for fines that are GDPR inspired, meaning that the maximum fine can be determined relative to a company's annual revenue. Talking about notification, will there be one regulator to notify across the board? Unfortunately not. There will be different regulators under the various frameworks. Some will consist of existing national regulators, and some will be newly to be formed national regulators. And in some instances, European bodies, like ENISA, may need to be informed. Okay, so how do you determine how to navigate these new cyber rules? Cyber resilience and cyber preparedness aren't new. Chances are you already have a program in place that you will be able to leverage and build out. Here are some tips on how to approach this. First, try to determine which regulations are applicable to you, considering your line of business and criticality. Second, take note of the status of the various regulations and determine when the requirements start to apply. Third, consider the cybersecurity requirements under the applicable regulations and map these against what you already have in place. And fourth, update your incident response plan to account for additional notification obligations and timelines. We'll be publishing more content as these regulations take further shape, so be sure to keep an eye out on our website, mofo.com, and our social channels. Just differently worded? There's 2 times just in that sentence. The European... almost. Third. I'll do it like this. Yeah.